Welcome to Khari Free at Last. I'm Khari Inaharo. During the civil rights struggle, the black church was the soul of the movement. In 2013, has the black church outlived its usefulness? Are white or racially diversified churches replacing the black church? My guests are Reverend Joel King, Associate Minister of Union Grove Baptist Church. He's also the cousin of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the Reverend Frederick Lamar, pastor of Family Missionary Baptist Church, and Reverend John Coates, Executive Director of the Ohio Right to Life. Dr. King, it seems to me that there is a big movement out of the black church. There's an exodus. Black people are leaving the black church. What in the world's going on here?
Well, unfortunately, I think, like the children of Israel, when they got out of the Egypt to go to the promised land, they think they have arrived. And now that we've got quote-unquote integration, and that to be a part of the integrated society, I got to move my religion as well as my faith. And sometimes we forget where home is.
Oh, so you're saying, what does arrive mean, Pastor King?
They arrived meaning different from my arrival. My arrival that
I showed up at the house?
Showed up at
what
the
does
house.
it mean?
I showed up that you have arrived to the extent that I made it. We made it as a people, and we don't have.
So you don't need to be black anymore.
Don't need to be black no more.
So is that true, Reverend Lamar? I mean, are black folk leaving the black church in bunches, or is it just a few who no longer want to be associated with it?
Well, I think it's not just merely the black church, but black folks want to be identified with something other than themselves.
Is that good or bad?
I think it's bad.
Why?
I think it's bad because the mere fact, if you are ashamed of your own identity, you're ashamed of your own people, it creates a problem.
So you're telling me that anybody that leaves the black church who is black, does not want to be black, you are condemning them, putting them down and saying that they should not do it? What are you saying?
No, what I'm saying is that people should stay with the church that they are comfortable in. You know, if you grew up in this church, then why would you leave the church?
I'm comfortable. Let's say I'm comfortable in the church I'm in, my racially diversified church.
Well, that's
I'm comfortable.
But if that's the church that you grew up in,
I prefer being around white folks than I do black folks. What's wrong with that?
I got concern with that.
Why you got a problem with that?
Then why would you got a problem being around? You said you'd rather be around white folks than black folks.
Yeah, I moved out in suburban communities. I got out of the inner city.
Why did you move out in suburban communities?
Well, Reverend Coates, why did I?
I think you asked the right question when you brought up suburbia. Urban flight has taken place, and just for practical purposes, people are tired of driving 30 minutes back into town when they have moved to suburbia because they have arrived, and they're tired of making that commute back into town, so they go to churches that are in their communities, because a church in your community then
so
has
it has
activities.
Nothing to do with rejecting their blackness?
I don't think that black people woke up one day and said, well, I'm just going to reject the black church. I don't
that's
think
what
that has
Pastor
happened.
Lamar is saying.
No, but people have practical reasonings. People have children, and they want to be involved in a church that has programs for their kids, for their families, for their activities.
And the black church doesn't have that?
Yes.
Are you accusing the black church of being inept and not providing these services?
Many churches do, but the issue is, do you travel a half hour to 45 minutes to get back into the central city, or do you go to the racially diversified church, if not an all-white church, in your neighborhood and community?
Pastor Lamar, what he is saying to me is that the black church has outlived its usefulness. He's saying that the white or racially diversified churches can do wonderful things for them that the black church cannot match.
Well, but see, my concern, even what Pastor Coates says, you know, you would drive 30 miles to go to work.
Go any way you want.
And longer.
Yeah, to go to work. So how come you can't drive that to go to church? You know, if your commitment is with your church, the church that you grew up in, the church that you found your foundation in, the church you cut your teeth on, then why did you leave?
I don't know of any other population that does this. Do you? Do Middle Easterners do it? Do Jewish folk do it? I mean, who else does this?
Look, mainline denominations, be it if you're talking about Lutheran churches, Episcopalian churches, even Baptist churches, Methodist churches within the central city, they're dying on the vine. Why? Because the white people moved. They moved and the membership
Has the black
moved.
church outlived its usefulness?
No.
Now, wait a minute.
They never will.
Well, then why are people leaving?
Because they're looking for, they don't know what they're looking for. Sensation. They're not looking for the gospel. If I want to hear gospel, you're going to still hear it in the black church. The gospel, not a Sunday school lecture.
But y'all not dealing with the core.
We are preaching the gospel, and people leave when they don't want to fight the issues that they're fighting in their life. and that's repentance and sin.
And so they can't, so if they go to a white or racially diversified church, you can't get that?
I go somewhere where nobody gonna indict me every day.
So what I'm gonna go get at the racially divided church, I can't get at the black church?
Sometimes more information. Sometimes more information. The black church has black church has had to fulfill so many needs.
All right. Why is the black church silent on gay marriage and Obama? Coming up next on Khari, Free at Last. Welcome back to Khari, Free at Last. The black church has been silent on gay marriage, and it's also been silent on President Obama's impact, or some say lack of impact, on the black community. Why? My guests are Reverend Joel King, the Reverend Frederick Lamar, and the Reverend John Coates. Reverend King, the black church has not said anything other than vote for Obama in 2012 and 2008. Thus far, there have been no urban initiatives. No, as a matter of fact, until he said something about Trayvon just the other day, he's pretty much ran away from the black community. But the black church has been awfully quiet. Why?
I don't think we've been quiet to the extent that you just hear us out there rabble-rousing and making a lot of noise about it. We are proud of the president. Oh, he is the president.
Reverend King, the black church hasn't said nothing.
I'm saying it as a pastor here today.
Okay, so what do you say?
I'm proud of the president.
Well, we are proud of him, but what is he doing?
He's maneuvered. He's a politician. He's doing a politician.
Meaning what?
He can get elected again and have a legacy right now. But my point being, he is presidential, and he's not a pastor, he's not a preacher of the bishop, so issues he's taken down there and said my concern, because it's more issues out there to worry about who's dating who's going to bed with who. Everybody's in bed with somebody.
See, that's what I mean, silent.
Everybody has come out in the community but the church.
But he has no economic development. President Lyndon Johnson did far more for black people than the first African-American president.
He has a Congress and a Congress who don't want him to pass anything.
Oh, that's not true. When he first got into office, he had a Democratic Senate and a Democratic Congress. He had 90% approval rating. Reverend Coates, why is the black church silent on Barack Obama?
Because the black church chose to be silent. The black church forgot that in its relationship, in any ministerial relationship to a public office holder, is that of a prophet. We must go to the president and to the king in order to warn and to forbear the king so that the king does the right thing and not the wrong thing. Now, as it relates to gay, as it relates to, sorry, like who? Right. The advisor to the king.
The advisor to the king. That's right.
As it relates to gay marriage, the black church did stand up, and the proof of that is they said vote no. And the proof of that is in North Carolina, because when the president and the political machines like the NAACP and the labor unions went into the South.
What's your position on gay marriage?
I support marriage. I believe marriage is between a man and a woman.
Oh, okay. Pastor Lamar, what's your position on marriage? No, I don't say it.
Marriage is between a man and a woman.
Are you opposed to gay marriage?
Yes,
Well, I guess you would have to be.
Yes, I am.
Okay, why has the black church been silent on it?
The black church has not been silent on it, but the black church is not so much in the face of the media, because we preach the Bible from our pulpits.
But aren't you leaders?
Yes, we are leaders.
Don't you lead the people?
Yes, we do.
Then why haven't you been in the media?
But listen. What we do not do, we do not attack people.
Who said anything about attacking? I just said your position.
Okay, but then
you don't have to, because you take a position.
And leadership isn't necessarily thirsting after media attention either. Leadership is that you lead the people that are before you. Right. You're not necessarily calling press conferences every day. And obviously the press, the liberal media was not interested in going to black churches and hearing what black preachers were saying from the pulpit, because they would have heard the message of marriage from the black pulpit.
What was the black church saying on gay marriage?
They are not for it, and still say they're not for it. We still preach man and woman marriage. And we will preach that until we die.
I heard not one press conference.
Don't need no press conference.
Coming from the black church. Never heard it from the National Baptist Association. Never heard it from any of the major black churches on this issue. What I heard was silence. Tell me I'm wrong.
I've seen press. Reverend Bill Owens had a coalition of pastors in Washington, D.C.
I said the National Black Baptist Association,
well,
the
then
big
again,
one.
well, history rewards
said
our research.
zero.
History rewards our research and also tells us that
The
they didn't even
African
stand.
Methodist
They
Church
did not
said
stand with
zero.
Dr. King. The National Baptist Convention didn't stand with Dr. King. He went to them for support. They rejected him, and that's why a denomination was formed in order to give Dr. King a denominational home called the Progressive Baptist Convention.
But Pastor Lamar, all this led to is ecclesiastical confusion. Did I get
That's a
that right?
big word.
Did I get that right? But that's, but that's what it's led to.
Here's one thing that we have to understand. Just because society takes an issue, our issue still remains the same. Marriage is between a man and a woman, and that's what we preach. We don't preach anti-gay.
Okay, well, you're going to
preach
get your
man
chance
and a
because
woman.
it's going to come up on the ballot at some point in the state of Ohio. How are you going to, and I'm going to come to you, and other media people are going to come to you. I'm going to ask you, how are you going to recommend people vote on this issue when it hits the ballot?
I'm going to recommend people vote with the Bible. It's marriage between a man and a woman. Because if you stay with the scripture, people make their own opinion. People make their own decisions. Here's what the scripture says. You know, see, a lot of times.
So what's wrong? What's wrong with a man marrying a man?
Well, because
What's incorrect about that?
what is the purpose of marriage? What is the purpose of marriage?
Two people being in love.
No, that ain't the purpose of
So
marriage.
what's the purpose?
Purpose of marriage is for eternity, to continue to reproduce.
Well, you can reproduce without marriage. We've seen, in fact, most of the
we ain't got to
reproduction
test
these
tube, baby.
days is going on
Okay,
without marriage.
Listen, I'm saying the purpose of marriage is to reproduce.
procreation.
Yeah, procreation. That's the purpose of it. You know, to be like God. So if you get two people that can't procreate together, then what they come together for?
The problem is leading to the notion in the community that people don't know what the church's position is. So as far as they're concerned, nobody's opposing it. They're going along with it. The president's pushing it, so it looks like black folks are supporting it. The NAACP came out in favor of it, and a host of other groups. So why would y'all have opposition if the NAACP is for it?
Because the NAACP may have a Hammond organ at their conventions, but they are no church, okay?
But the problem is you're not saying nothing. What's happening is that preachers are trying to walk away without being visible on issues like this.
I'm preaching, and these gentlemen are preaching as well, and that's all we can do is
That's not true.
is to preach.
That's not true.
But see, Khari, I think here's the issue. See, everyone's looking at the 60 civil rights and thinking that is the model for civil rights altogether. I talked to a lady, she came to me, she said, do you
Well, the
think...
gay community keeps comparing their struggle to the
not-
black
that's-
struggle.
it's
Is it comparable?
In fact, they have benefited.
Thank
They
you.
have benefited from the gains made during the civil rights movement.
Is
And
it-
even in the modern civil rights
Should
movement.
they be doing that, Reverend Lamar?
Should they be doing comparison?
Should they compare their
don't
struggle
think-
with our struggle?
No, I don't think the struggles are the same.
Why not?
Because of the mere fact, I didn't choose to be black. You know, I didn't choose...
Well, they say they were born gay.
Well, you know, people can always argue.
You don't
that
believe
point.
that?
No, I don't believe it.
Do you, Reverend?
Oh, no, I don't believe it either. It's a
You,
choice.
Reverend King?
No.
Huh?
One is a moral issue, one is a spiritual.
Which one is moral? Which one's spiritual?
Moral is where you live the way you're supposed to be, like God created to be. Where you violate God's law, God's divine order of things, everything gets out of order. I just said when we opened up before, everything has come out the closet. Everybody has come out the closet but the church. What you keep talking about.
That's right.
Why
Church
did I say
has been very
the
quiet
gays
on
have come
this
out the closet. Everybody's come out but the church. And yes, it needs to take a stand. It needs to take a stand publicly. And I think we're doing this on
You
the
think
show
it's gonna
today.
happen?
Oh, yes.
It's happening now.
It's happening now.
It's happening
Or,
now.
or are you just sliding away from it? Right?
No, it's happening now. It's happening now, and I'll continue to press the issue.
All right. They won $500 million more. Up next on Khari, Free at Last. Welcome back to Khari Free at Last. Citizen panel approved a new property tax, giving the scandal-plagued Columbus schools an additional $500 million. My guests are Reverend Joel King, the Reverend Frederick Lamar, and the Reverend John Coates. Frederick Lamar, you've been in the paper, Reverend Frederick Lamar, you've been in the paper talking about there's not enough house cleaning. Did I get the impression that you're not going to support this school levy?
Well, I don't know what impression you got. But
Well, that's the impression I got.
Okay, well, I'm going to clear you.
Yes or no? Are you supporting this school levy, my brother?
My support is for our children. If you cannot show me where this levy going to directly support our children, no, I'm not.
Oh, they can show you that. They broke it out. You give some money to the charter schools, gonna give a little money for new schools. They're gonna give money to everybody.
But see, here's the challenge.
So why not say yes, my brother?
But see, here's the challenge, okay? You ain't did what you're supposed to do with the money we get before.
In 2008.
Yeah. So when you showing me that you cannot be transparent, you showing me that you cannot be equitable as far as the money you already have, and then you're going to come back to me for more.
Well, what evidence do you have that they didn't do what they said they were going to do in 2008?
Oh, trust me, you can look at the food service. Money's messed up at the food service.
How?
And you got, how?
How?
How is money messed up at the food service?
Yeah. How now,
Hold
brown
on,
cow?
hold on. Here it goes. They have, everyone gets free lunch. Whether or not you on free or reduced lunch, you get free lunch. They feed everybody. So then they keep record of the mere fact of whoever they feed. So then they send a due bill home to the parents. And if the parents don't pay it, they turns it over to a collection agency.
Oh.
You know, so wait a minute. Because my child choose not to eat what I gave him, he gets a free lunch, and you gonna send me a bill home?
Reverend Coates, is this a corporate takeover, this levy, or is it
what else?
truly designed to help children?
First of all, the corporate takeover is happening without the levy.
What do you mean?
The corporate takeover already happened.
Where?
Okay, well, you had
Evidence.
exchange in management. So we had a new manager come in, and by the way, black management is out. You know, they put a sign up that says under new management, and they brought in one of these provosts from OSU in order to manage the business,
Westerville.
the multi-billion-dollar business. He mentioned food service before. Yes, kids eat meals. They get and they wasn't keeping proper record on who was receiving lunch.
You supporting the levy?
So, no.
Why?
There's no way. First of all,
Oh, come on, man. We need this levy.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Well, first of
There
all,
are other organizations in this community who
do
want
you
to come
need
out
to
and
pay
support.
higher taxes on your home? And it's a dollar and cents issue as it relates to a homeowner.
The average is going to go up for a $100,000 home about a little over between $350 and $400, somewhere around there.
Significant. So if
Yeah,
you
it is.
have a home, that's over $100,000, maybe you live in a $200,000 house, your taxes are going to go up significant. So they need to prove to the taxpayer that this is worth it, and they're going to come and they're going to sing the same song that they have always sung.
Well, they're going
that it's about the children.
They're going to put
it's all about the
they're
children.
going to put some
It's all
preachers.
about
They're
the
going to
children.
put some preachers and some ministers out in front of this thing. Reverend King.
I'm quite sure they will.
All right. What's your position? Yes or no?
My position is no. I'm not giving you no more money. But tell you show what you done with the last money, and you done show me that with your lies.
Reverend King.
You done show me that when you can have an air-conditioned trailer with the air conditioner turned on to my somebody forgot to turn it off with the school not even in. So nobody's doing due diligence what they already got. So I'm gonna give you $500 million more to run the air conditioner all summer when nobody's sitting in a trailer. That's just something that come out of this day. You got people sitting in the office that ought to be in the classroom getting $100,000. Took them out the classroom, and you talking about you short on this, you short on that. Put them back in the classroom if you're going to help the student. Put them back where they need to be.
But the mayor wants this levy passed.
That don't mean nothing because he wants it.
Wait a minute. This is the mayor of your city,
So-
the long-term, long-tenured mayor.
I helped put him there when he first came. I helped elect him for city
So
council.
you and him parting ways on this?
On this issue, till they show me
What
due
do they
diligence.
need to do to make you say
Due
yes?
diligence of the money, due diligence of somebody. Number one, somebody got to go to jail on this past problem that we already got going there. Ain't nobody done that.
You out for blood on this?
If Atlanta can send the superintendent and 7 of his board to jail, and we have not sent no person to jail, we let them retire in good faith on still my tax dollars. We let them walk out the door because we don't want to rock
Let me ask you
the boat.
something. Did the mayor, wait a minute, did the mayor cut a deal with the auditor on this?
Well, I don't know.
And
But
Kasich?
I don't.
Governor Johnny? Was
I don't-
something done there?
I don't know, but what I do know, and as to, in reference to someone going to jail, I just hope that if they send the puppet to jail, that the puppet master also goes.
What's that mean?
That's a
Whoa,
concern.
you're talking in code.
That's a concern.
Wait a minute, who's the puppet master?
I don't know.
Oh,
The puppet master's
Could be it,
behind the scene. He's
right.
the wizard behind the curtain that's pulling the strings and giving the
Reverend
orders.
Coates, what would it take for you to support this bill? Support this levy?
I can't support this levy because questions have not been answered.
Such as?
Voters, we ought to say no. Such as the grade scandal, the attendance scandal.
Data rigging.
Everything isn't answered. We have unanswered questions. And why should we support a system, pour more money into it when it's already broken? Let's fix it. Let's stop for a while.
And there
let's take an
are
observation.
principals that are afraid to come forth because the administrators who are over them put a gag order on them. So when you get rid of those administrators, those principals will come forth, and they're going to share a whole lot of
How
stuff.
extensive is the corruption?
How extensive? I think it is. I just think it's at the top level. Once you get the top level out the way.
What's top level mean? You talking about school board? You talking about school administrators?
Anybody from the
What?
principal up. Principal down is good. Anybody from the principal up.
Reverend King, what kind of school system have we been seeing here? I thought we were educating the children. What have we been seeing here?
A lot since 2008, when you got grade changes going on and it's been approved by you. We think, and you telling the kids, oh, we got this, and then we have done some good things in the school system. I'm not going to downgrade my
Throw the baby out the bathwater.
Because see, we just not explaining that to the public what has been done, what she inherited, she came in. Some things she did wrong, she doesn't pay the cost for that right now by being forced retired out. But it's got to be a clean house.
Forced retire.
Forced retire.
You know, and I can't put it all on the superintendent.
No,
There's a
not
board
all.
of education who the superintendent is an employee of, and the public elects the board thinking that the board is their ultimate watchdog.
All right. Woo! Why are black men leaving the church in record numbers? Up next on Khari, Free at Last. Welcome back to Khari, Free at Last. Pew Research conducted a religious survey that revealed that 60% of black church attendees are women, and that number is increasing. Where are the black males? My guests are Reverend Joel King, Reverend Frederick Lamar, and Reverend John Coates. The men are not in the church, Reverend Coates. Looks like they're boycotting the church. Maybe they look upon preachers as being, I don't want to say it, but you've heard the words, not being the kind of leadership they want to follow. Now, this is different from the days of Dr. Martin Luther King, where the men were very strong in the church. What's happened?
Well, there is a leadership issue in the church, and there's just the issue of where black men are, period. A lot of black men are in jail. A lot of black men are caught up in whatever in the system.
A myth. That's a myth.
That's not a myth.
That's a myth. Give me evidence to back up that black men, that 60% or 40% or 30% of black men in jail, they're not.
You gave a statistic as it related to the number of black women that are in jail.
No, I didn't. I said
not in jail.
church.
I'm sorry, that in church.
What are you saying?
It was Freudian.
Was that Freudian
Yeah, Freudian
slip?
slip. But we look at the number of black households that's headed by a single parent.
Correct.
As well. So those numbers kind of go along with each other. So where is the father at also answers the question as to where's the black male.
Okay,
and one of those places is the jailhouse.
Question, Reverend Lamar, what do you need to do to bring more black men to church? Come on.
Well, the thing that you need to do to bring more black men to church is to just do more outreach. Do more outreach and serve a sense of compassion with them and give them a sense of direction.
But the church is so female-centered. It's all about touchy-feely. Men like action. They want action. Yeah, well, why not? Like what you're doing. You've been doing marches now for almost 50 straight months dealing with community issues. Why aren't more churches being like your church?
Well, I cannot say why other churches are not doing what they're doing because that may not be their passion. My passion is outreach. My passion is really being there, touching the pulse of the people. And a lot of times, sometimes I just go out there and sit with them. When you bring the church outside the four walls and you sit and spend time with them and you listen to their issues and see, I got what is called an open door policy. You know, if you got issues, just bring them to me.
But you probably have a higher percentage of men in your church than most churches, wouldn't you? Yeah.
Because most of them is ex-convicts. Most of them got felonies, just like Pastor Coach said.
Most of the ones that come to the church, that doesn't mean most black men have felonies. Let's clear that up right now, because that's not true. That is not true.
He's speaking of his congregation.
Yes.
Oh, the congregation, maybe so.
The congregation,
but in general, that's not true.
Okay, the congregation, and then the demographics of the neighborhood where my church is at also. You know, so the mere fact, I give them a sense of hope because the mere fact that I'm going to be there for you.
Reverend
King,
King,
help you get
same thing with you. What do we need to do to get the men back in the church?
Get them back, give them basic training, preaching, teaching.
That relates to their
That
lives.
relates to their lives, and they will come and they will come back to church. Everybody has a flight away from church. I was a Sunday school superintendent when I was 16 years old. 17, I went out in the world.
You were? You were Sunday school superintendent?
16 at my church in South Carolina.
All right.
Home church. And 17, I did like most 17-year-olds. I'm tired of church. Ain't nothing here for me. I'm
You
leaving
left.
out. But when I got out there, and one night I was at a bar that had one door in there, and one door in, one door out. And then shooting started after I left there. I got back into the church.
Well, we got about a minute left. I'm going to go to you. What is the future of the black church, Reverend Coates?
The future of the black church is not a good future because the church has taken a position, abandonment of personal salvation and now preaching personal
The black
prosperity.
church has done this.
Prosperity. Yeah.
Reverend Lamar, quickly. Future of the black church?
I think the future of the black church is still strong. It's still strong, but like Pastor Cole said, we've got to get away from preaching that prosperity and understand the mission of Jesus Christ.
Reverend King.
Preach the gospel, the pure, unadulterated gospel of God. Preach it.
And I also want to say that there's a new show coming up, Pulse of the City, with Reverend Lamar and Reverend King, so I'm looking forward to that. These two dynamite leaders in the community. Thanks for joining us on Khari Free at Last on Bounce 23 TV. See you next time.